friends, and welcome to Yellow Flag TV's live presentation, race number 16 in the Sim500 Monday Night Money Series. I'm Michael Keaton, second timer in the booth tonight with me, Mr. Joe Hudson, and of course, producing the show and hitting every single button, Pedro Mega. Joe, welcome to Dover International Raceway, the Meatball Company 151.
Hey, thanks for having me back, Michael. Had such a good time last Monday. I thought I'd just come back and join you, and we'd watch this battle tonight to see who's going to clinch their spot in the chase and who's going to be on the outside crying.
Absolutely, and tonight, you just mentioned, it's basically race your way in. This is race number 16. Next week, the chase starts at Darlington. But before that, Joe, some people are going to have to claw their way into this thing, and we have went over multiple scenarios of what could happen, and let's just touch on a few of them right here.
Yeah, basically we got 11 guys that are locked in via win or mathematically by points. Got Joey Giottina in 11th, Kyle Manger in 13th, who's not here tonight, Scott Stenzel, who hasn't shown up, in 14th, and Steve Gottschalk in 15th, and those four guys are battling for 3 spots.
Now, you mentioned Steve Gottschalk. Currently, right now, folks, still a couple of minutes left in qualifying, about 4 minutes to go. Steve Gottschalk, 4th spot in qualifying. Joey Giottina, you just mentioned him, Joe. He's qualified. Had a little trouble in qualifying, starting 12th currently with a 23.181, so very slow. But them two guys can claw their way into this thing. So I guess if you're Joey Giottina,
well, he's got a pretty good lead on Gottschalk, but the one they're going to have to watch out that's going to be the monkey wrench is Seth the Merchant. You know, he got injured earlier in the year and sat out a couple of races, but he has made his way back to 13 points out of the top 20 with 2 wins. And the rules for the chase are the top 14 in points or those with a win. So if the Merchant can make up 13 points and get back into the top 20, then he's going to bump one of those 11 through 14th place drivers out of a guaranteed spot on points.
And you mentioned the Merchant last week winning at Chicagoland Speedway, and also winning just a couple of weeks before that at Martinsville Speedway. Seth the Merchant trying to claw his way in here tonight. And folks, we're going to step aside, take the quick break for your national anthem. When we return, 151 laps of the Meatball Company 151, race number 16. Race your way in, if you will, at Dover International Speedway. We'll be back. Here in race number 16 at Dover International Speedway. Joe Hudson has caught up on pit road with Steve Gottschalk.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Steve, got your work cut out for you tonight. Right now, you're currently in 15th spot. You've got to make up at least one spot to get yourself in the chase. But you also have to watch out
guys,
for
real
Seth the
quick, drivers
Merchant,
meeting
because if
before
he
we get
gets in
going
the
here.
top 20, that's going to bump one more guy out. What are you looking for tonight? A great qualifying effort got you up in 4th right now.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm hoping that I can hang on to the top 5 and just kind of ride it out for a while. I don't know if you noticed or not, but the 2 guys ahead of me in points didn't show up tonight. So that makes it a little bit easier. I'm not sure who's behind me, but that's probably who I'm fighting right now.
Yeah, you'd like to go for the win up there. We understand, but you're going to have to be, kind of cautiously aggressive to hold serve there. Could be in a good spot, but you need to bring home a good finish to lock it in.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm just going to, try and be careful and bring it home in one piece and get a good finish.
Well, we appreciate you joining us. Good luck out there. Have a good race.
Thanks, guys.
Always good to hear from the drivers, Joe, just before the race starts. And man, I tell you, if I'm Steve Gottschalk, I'm nervous right now. But you have to be, you have to concentrate on the race and let it come to you. You don't want to let the nerves get the best of you.
No, and it's got a couple of minutes here before we start the pace lap. This track is very tricky. Dover, the Monster Mile, there's a couple of things that the drivers are going to be fighting with tonight. You carry in a lot of speed down in the corners. In qualifying, over 170 miles an hour as you go into turns 1 and turn 3. Wide corners with a lot of grip from top to bottom. But as you get ready to exit the corner, the track narrows up. I mean, it's almost like looking down the barrel of a shotgun as you come off the corner. And you're carrying so much speed, the rear end of the car starts to get really, really tight. And if you start to feather back in the throttle, if you get in that throttle too hard at all, that back end's going to step out. And once it steps out, it's virtually impossible to keep it out of the outside or inside safe or barrier.
Oh, boy. It'll be a good one tonight. The Monster Mile at Dover.
Yeah, the other thing that's going to give these guys a challenge is most racetracks we go to, the entrance to pit road is off of turn 4, well off of turn 4. Dover here, you enter the pits in the middle of turn 4. Drivers must start planning their pits and slowing down before they enter turn 3. They've got to make their way off of a banked racetrack onto a flat apron without losing control, getting down from 170 to 45 mile an hour, and it's a very narrow entrance to pit road. I will bet you every bit of my money that somebody tonight will miss pit road or have a problem getting into pits. And again, either one of those 2 errors is going to take you from a hero to a zero, from a contender to a pretender.
And with that said, tonight, 13 drivers taking a qualifying time, 21 set to make the field tonight in the last race before the grid of chases, if you will, Joe. First on the pole is the man with the plan, Malik Ray, and that number 1 machine. Rolling off second on the front row is that 00, Larry Pace.
Yeah, Malik Ray is definitely the hottest driver in all of Sim right now, for sure. On all of Sim500, every league he's in, he's a threat. We got E.J. O'Rourke, who's come on strong here lately. Steve Gottschalk going off 5th, and Scott Formosa with a good qualifying run in 5th place there. I'm sorry.
6th and 7th will be Kyle Taraska, Brian Boris Cook, Chad Coleman 8th, Bobby Wetzel 9th, and he can get into the chase with a win tonight, it seems like. Joe?
As well as Jimmy North. Jimmy North can sneak in with a win. The car that I'd like everybody to keep an eye out, it'd be the car rolling off 15th, the number 23 of J.D. Laird. We had a truck race here Friday night in Sim500. J.D. dominated, leading most of the laps, so keep an eye on him to work his way up to the front.
Louis Robinette rolls off 11th, 12th. Joey Jatina, Justin Ford 13th, last to take time. Here we go, folks. Pace car is off into the pits, and Malik Ray going to bring us to a slow but good start as Larry Pace spins the tires and he's in the outside wall, Joe.
That's not the start you were wanting, but we will. He recovers. Looks like he falls back into 3rd spot. Hopefully, didn't get too much damage. Larry's a seasoned veteran. He's in the chase, nothing to lose, so I'm sure he's going to go all out for the win.
And single file, everyone off into turns 3 and out of 4. Malik Ray leading the race. He will lead lap 1 here at 151 Meatball Company race here tonight. E.J. O'Rourke second. Larry Pace is now third. He has fallen 1 spot. Kyle Taraska sits behind him. Again, single file, Joe. Dover's one of those tracks where it is fast. These turns are banked up real high, and it just seems real quick through the turns here.
Oh, yeah, even with the tire fall-off's going to be huge, but even then, you're still averaging well above 150 miles an hour for a lap. The pole speed average was 158.64. Again, it's going to definitely test the skill of these Sim500 drivers.
All right, so back here in 6th spot in the 91 machine, Steve Gottschalk. He starts the race in 4th spot, loses 2 right off the bat, Joe, and he's got Brian Boris Cook right behind him in that Toyota. And Steve Gottschalk is one of those guys we're going to keep our eye out on tonight. I've got him noted here. And he's got Scott Formosa right in front of him. So far, everyone's single file and running pretty good right now.
Yeah, if you're Steve Gottschalk, you're wanting to have at least a couple of car lengths in front of you and a couple of car lengths from the car behind you. You want to find a good spot to ride. He's got Brian Boris Cook looking to make a pass on him. I don't look for him to fight him too hard. He may just let him go. He just needs to find a good spot and settle in, make those laps, and collect those points to get his way in the chase.
And back here in 10th spot, J.D. Laird making the move on Louis Robinette as they go down the front stretch. So move J.D. Laird into the 9th spot. He started 15th, and he's already up 6 spots. Wow. And now he's working on Chad Coleman, who appears to stay low in that group for now. A little bit of competition ahead of them as Brian Boris Cook working up under Gottschalk, baby. Right off of turn 4. See you later, alligator.
Yeah, well, there's definitely going to be comers and goers as the tire wear starts to roll out. They can go about 80, 90 laps on a tank of fuel, but these guys are going to be screaming for tires after about 30 laps. It's going to be interesting to see what the pit strategy is, if they're going to split it up into third, or maybe some of them will try to go halfway before they do their pits. But again, I look for Gottschalk just to find a place, sit and ride, give himself plenty of room if there's an accident in front of him, that he doesn't get himself any damage and take himself out of the chase.
All right, Justin Fuller in the 51 machine, Joe, absolutely annihilated the wall coming off. He has pulled that car behind the garage area, and he is done for tonight. And I saw E.J. O'Rourke, by the way, Joe. I don't know if you caught it a couple laps ago. Take a look at that right front. He's in 3rd spot, but I see some damage up on that right front. And I think that wall just kind of reached out and grabbed him coming off one of those corners.
Yeah, I said you carry so much speed through the corners, and you want to just shoot straight up to the wall, and you get the corner. I mean, it just gets so light in the rear end. You've got steering wheel put into it. The rear end gets light. You run out of room to chase it, and when you hit the wall like that, it's going to kill his straightaway speed. He's lucky he didn't bounce off into the inside barrier, but his night's probably ruined for taking a W.
Move Brian Boris Cook up 1 spot into the 5th place now. He just went by Scott Formosa. Now he's got his eyes set on Kyle Taraska. Brian Boris Cook is humming, buddy. He's like a bee out there. He is just looking for somebody to sting. He's all over the backside of Kyle Taraska in 3. Off of 4, gives him a nice little shove. Is he going to run up underneath him, Joe?
He's run out of room coming off of 4. He's going to be forced to follow him down the front straightaway, but let's see if he can set him up in 1 and 2, maybe get up under him off the corner without losing the back end of the car. That's where the real challenge is. He's going to maybe ride for a few laps and hopefully force him into a mistake.
10th quick in practice, 7th in qualifying. He's now 5th on the racetrack, and if he can just get by Kyle Taraska, he'll move himself up into the 4th spot. Leading the race right now still Malik Ray. Larry Pace is 2nd, E.J. O'Rourke 3rd, and as I just mentioned, Kyle Taraska sits in 4th. Brian Boris Cook, as he gets a little tail dive there, Alpha 2 there, is in 5th spot.
Yeah, Malik Ray is setting a torrid pace. He's already caught the 19th place car of Bobby Wetzel, about to start lapping them. Malik's got it figured out. He has a great throttle control. good patience on how to save those tires. He's a second in the lead over Larry Pace. Just like last week, this looks to be Malik Ray's race to win.
All right, so folks, this is the last race before the chase starts, the Monday Night Money's Premier Series. Chase, by the way, being sponsored by many of the sponsors from all year long. DIYSim.com, the Simcraft company, personal comfort and air adjustable number bed. Of course, Sim500, part of the sponsors for the chase that starts next week at Darlington Challenger 14. Then we head to my home track, Joe, and your home track as well, Talladega. Michigan is the Eliminator 6. Championship week is at Vegas, and then the inaugural champion, the first time ever at Sim500, will be announced.
Looks like we're under caution. Scott Formosa, just like what we mentioned, got up a little too high, coming off a 4, collects the wall and spins into the inside barrier. Very lucky he didn't collect anybody else. But one car spin, Scott Formosa hard into the inside wall off of turn 4.
Oh boy, and it just kind of looked like he was trying to let J.D. Laird go. Just trying to stay high for him and just, That was close right there, Joe. Tough break for Scott Formosa there.
Yeah, upon looking at that replay, there could have been a little contact there. You were exactly right. He looked like he was trying to give him room, knew he was faster. But, again, it's so narrow here. You're carrying so much speed. It's very, very hard to even get out of the way. It's almost like Bristol. There's no place to hide here.
Oh, man. Scott Formosa just couldn't catch a break this year. I mean, he's had 10 starts in the Sim500 series here on Monday nights, Joe, and no top 10s, no top 5s, of course. Just can't quite get it going. It's always something like this, and he was having such a good race here that he could have solidified that first top 10 of the year and just trying to give somebody a little room, and then just next thing he knows, he's in the inside wall there.
Yeah, that's what, people don't realize how hard it is to win these races. I mean, just like last week in Chicago, Malik Ray, dominant car all night long, pit strategy at the end, couple of spins, and he wasn't able to get back but to second. Very, very hard to win these races. Formosa is always fast in practice. Just putting it together to make that whole race, though, is tough.
Off of pit road, Malik Ray is going to hold that second spot. E.J. O'Rourke, guess what, Joe? Speeding.
Yeah, I figured when he came out there ahead of Larry Pace, he's speeding. What I'm trying to figure out now, I'm a little surprised we hadn't talked about Seth the Merchant, but he had worked his way all the way up inside the top 10. But Seth did not pit. He chose to stay out there, 18 laps on his tires. He's going to be the leader when we go green. But I wouldn't want to be in his spot with those guys with new tires behind him.
Yeah, he's the only one that stayed out. Oh, man. And he's got Malik Ray that's going to start on the outside of him, and Larry Pace right behind him. And 151 laps, Joe, you just mentioned it, 18 now complete. 20 drivers now. Actually, with Justin Fuller and Scott Formosa ended the night, only 18 drivers remain, all the way back to Brian Workman, back in the 18th position.
Yeah, and there's no, the other thing with I'd have to question the Merchant crew on leading him out. There's no bonus point for leading a lap here. In the Monday Night Money Series, there's a stage bonus at the halfway, and we're not near halfway. Halfway's going to be lap 76. So we'll just have to see how this works out. Hopefully he doesn't get into some trouble, crash his car, take himself right out. But, they obviously get paid the big bucks, so we'll see what happens as we get ready to go green.
Here we go, Scott Formosa. Seth the Merchant taking us back to the green, and he gets off to a great start, Joe. Surprisingly enough, leaves Malik Ray into the dust. Kyle Tarasca all over him in one.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, though, as they come through 1 and 2, just coming up to speed. This is where those new tires are really going to show themselves. watch them as they run down into 3 and see what the new tires versus old tires does as they make their way off of turn 4.
And Seth's got to be careful right here. Malik coming off the corner real hard. Now he works underneath, and now we've got a nearly 3-wide battle in one. Holy moly. Settle down.
Taraska had such a run as Malik Ray had to check up to keep from running into the back of the Merchant, and that gave Taraska a run. And again, those are the kind of chain reactions that you got to be on the lookout for. And the Merchant honestly does not need to have himself in that position as he's riding up by the wall, definitely holding up the cars behind him. Hopefully everybody will be patient, everything will settle out, but he is not in a good spot right now.
Yeah, Brian Boris Cook was very patient, had the back way out. And of course, like you mentioned, all the other drivers giving him the patience as he needs. Jack Coleman now underneath Seth the Merchant. And you could just tell.
Oh, that big wreck off of turn 4. Jimmy North, one of our contenders who had a chance to get himself into the race, hard into the inside wall.
Oh, man, it looks like Paul Nicholas Cooper, Joe, got ever so slightly into the outside wall off 4, and just tough break for Jimmy North there.
Yeah, and that's what like I mentioned in the start of the race. The track just gets so narrow off of there. When somebody has a problem, there's nowhere to go. And Jimmy, purely an innocent victim. I'm going to run down to the pits and see if I can get a word with Jimmy.
10-4. And, folks, pretty sure that we'll see that number 57 Camaro down pit road here. He stayed out. He was the only driver to have stayed out under the last caution, the first caution we've had tonight. This is the second caution brought out to you by Jimmy North and Paul Nicholas Cooper. And pit road is open, and there are some takers, and looks like Kyle Taraska will come down pit road, and as well as some other drivers.
Hey, Jimmy North, this is Joe Hudson up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy on us?
I certainly do, Joe. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, we're doing a lot better than you are, man. We were watching you there. It looked like you just happened to be in the wrong spot at the wrong time. What did you see out your windshield?
Well, I was coming off of turn 4 there, and I know Paul Cooper was running that high lane, and he got up into the wall, slowed his car down, and I couldn't avoid him.
Yeah, tough break, Jimmy. You know, we had documented earlier that you were in a win and in situation, that you needed a W to secure your way into the playoffs. Looks like your car is pretty well damaged. What's the crew telling you on getting it back out on the track?
Well, we're gonna bring it down into the garage area, get it fixed up, get back out there for points. But I haven't checked as far as where we're at in the points battle. I know it's pretty close, but this is a hard hit for the 84 team and all the guys that put this together. So we're going to try and get back out there after we get it fixed up and maybe pick up a few spots.
All right, Jimmy, we're sorry for your bad luck there. We'll keep apprised of you. Hope they can get that thing fixed and get you back out there to running some good lap times. Be safe, brother.
I appreciate it, Joe. Thank you.
You know, Joe, as you're making your way back up into the booth here from pit road, I'm kind of looking here at the point standings, and I'm seeing Jimmy North in 18th spot in the points. He's got Bobby Wetzel two positions behind him, and Doy Woods is in 19th. Okay, so Doy Woods is not here tonight. Seth the Merchant will most likely crack into the top 20. Doy Woods will fall out. I don't think Brian Morris Cook, unless he wins, can get in by points, Joe. If Jimmy North can somehow or another stay ahead of Bobby Wetzel, I think Jimmy North can get in.
Well,
am I reading that right? Look at that, Joe.
Well, there's 50 possible points if you win and lead it halfway, and even adding 50 points to Jimmy North. He's still outside the top 14 as they sit right now, so he definitely needed a win to get in.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a memory lapse episode there. I'm thinking top 20 for some reason. Well, for one thing's for sure, he will be in the top 20, Joe.
Yeah, and Jimmy is a diehard competitor, runs every Sim 500 race. He's out there, hard worker during the day, comes out, races with us at night. One of the cleanest drivers you'll see out there in Sim 500. Really hate to see him have that bad luck. But this caution was perfect timing for Seth the Merchant. He was able to come in and get those tires, but now he's going to have to work his way back from the back around some of the guys. That he definitely got to be careful.
Yes, he does. He's got EJ O'Rourke right out beside him. Of course, EJ getting that speeding penalty. He would have came out second, third, but trying to get around Larry Pace for that one position and ended up getting him. Now, Malik Ray has chosen to restart this race at the outside.
Yeah, Malik knows what he's doing here. He's going to get him a good run down into one, have that groove to keep his momentum off of turn 2. Larry Pace on the inside. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here with the Merchant in the new tires, but here we go.
Here we go, Malik Ray taking us back to the green, gets a great jump there off of the corner. Pace still struggling there on the restart. That's twice he's struggled tonight on the restart. Brian Boris Cook able to get by him on the outside perhaps. Coming on 2, he'll run out of room. Gosh, Joe, look how tight that gets off the corner.
I'll tell you, we had an open test here last week, and I made some laps in the Sim 500 R&D car, and I can't stress how much it closes up coming off the corner. You get under somebody, you really got to have it together. You really got to just baby that throttle, or that back end's coming around on you.
Man, put us in the in-car view there, Pedro, on the 63, and just see they're side by side right now. I think J.D. Laird's going to get around him here in the corner. Let's just see if we can get an idea of how close that wall comes up to you off of 4. Man, look at that view that Cook's got now on the back of Laird.
Oh, no, another big wreck. Oh, the Merchant is caught up in it. Big wreck.
Oh, Joe, that's 3 wrecks tonight.
Yeah, I'm trying to look here to see who it was that...
EJ O'Rourke?
Looks like, was that Louis Robinette that got into the outside wall and collected Tarasca, which then started a chain reaction blocking the track.
It looks like Kyle Tarasca may have thought that he was clear of Louis Robinette there off the corner, Joe, and I don't think he was clear, but I'm not 100% sure that Louis didn't come down a little bit, losing it off the corner perhaps.
Yeah, well, I said you're coming off there. You're trying to keep it off the wall. You're fighting. It gets loose. He got into Tarasca. Tarasca looks like he collected DeMerchant, EJ O'Rourke. Watch Gottschalk. He squeezes by on the outside. Good move by Gottschalk, but hopefully this didn't damage DeMerchant too bad. If you got an in-car shot of him, he definitely
he's smoking,
got.
Joe.
Man, that's going to make it interesting when we add up the points at the end of the night.
Yeah, he's smoking bad right now as we speak. I don't know if they can fix that car. It may be too much. In fact, it just turned from white to gray, Joe. That's not looking good for Seth the Merchant. Another car down on pit road smoking. It looked to be, gosh, who was it? Was it Jimmy North?
Jimmy was in the last one. I'm gonna try to run down to the pits and see if I can catch up with Kyle Tarasca.
Okay. Oh, boy. "31 laps complete, folks, out of 151 scheduled for tonight at Dover. 4th caution, 31 laps into the books."
Hey, Kyle Tarasca, this is Joe Hudson up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I do.
Hey, looked like you were on the inside there of Louis Robinette, and he kind of got a little sideways and collected you. What did you see out of your mirror?
Yeah, I don't know what Louis' deal is, but I mean, sometimes people just don't belong running in leagues, I guess. It all started on a restart. The leader was in our outside lane, and the leader went, and I went, and he was sleeping. and he didn't go, and then I kind of ran him over, and that gave me damage. And then I'm watching the replay right now, and I don't know what he was thinking off of 4. I gave him a lane and a half to work with, and he got tight, and he came off the wall and just, took my right rear out, and then that was it. So it sucks. We're, trying to build momentum for the championship. Thankfully, we got a win already, but the second half of the season has not gone too well for me, and a lot of stuff has happened out of my control, and this is just another one to add to the list.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you taking a minute to join us here and give us your view on it. Again, we commented earlier, you are one of the 11 drivers that were locked in, so tonight you really had nothing to lose but to go for it. Very exciting racing earlier. We saw y'all go 3 wide down into 1 there when DeMerchant stayed out on old tires. How's the track?
Track's great. We got a really good setup this week. It's a little bit tight, but it's very raceable, which is great. Going into turn 1, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there, Joe, when you said we're just running for bonus points right now because we're all locked in, and I wanted to make a move and see if it would stick, but I knew I could trust the guys around me. Malik and Seth are really good racers here, and they've won a couple of races each, so I knew I could trust them, and I trusted myself to make the move, and I knew we were going to work out one way or the other, but it's stupid when you realize we could run 3 wide into turn 1, but you can't run 2 wide off of turn 4.
Well, what about your crew? Have they talked to you about the damage? Are they going to get you back out?
I'm done. That's it. We're done we'll see you in Darlington.
All right. Sorry to see you have a tough break there tonight, Kyle, but we appreciate you spending a couple of minutes with us.
Absolutely. Y'all have a good night.
One of the chase contenders taken out early tonight at Dover, but Joe, as you mentioned, he's in. He's locked in. Now the question is, when we get to Darlington, Joe, the Challenger 14, where we'll see Kyle Tarasca, hopefully in tip-top shape. Does the points start over?
Yeah, they're going to re-rack them and probably start them all, I think, around 1,000 points. So all 14 will start at 1,000, and then they'll, advance up from there.
So he doesn't lose. So, by getting taken out of this race tonight, he's locked in. He's just a little disappointed there, but he's not going to lose nothing when we start the chase next week.
No, he was racing for pride and experience tonight.
Well, it would have been nice to have seen him continue to run. Darlington is next week, track that somewhat mimics the Dover track in some ways. Back to green flag racing. Larry Pace starts his back. Bobby Wetzel, by the way, on the outside. Malik Ray on the bottom now, getting by him. Off into turn 1 and 2 here. J.D. Laird will work his number 23 machine in 4th spot, trying to get that 3rd spot from Wetzel down the back stretch.
Yeah, that just shows you how quickly things can change here in Sim500. Bobby Wetzel's another one. If he can somehow sneak a win or steal a win, he'll be in the chase. Earlier tonight, he was just 2 seconds from going a lap down. Now he's up in the top 5.
And now look at that, Joey Jatina up in the 6th spot looking for that top 5 spot from Bobby Wetzel as he follows now to 5th. How about that, Joey Jatina trying to claw that machine up to the top 5 spot.
Yeah, Joey's always a good racer. He may not qualify, but that team doesn't always qualify the best, but they usually have good race speed. And Joey's crew has probably communicated to him with all the attrition, with the wrecks that we've had early, that he's in a pretty good spot, and it's okay to go ahead and press down and try to be a little bit more aggressive. That his spot in the chase is more than likely safe now. So he's probably gonna open that thing up and see if he can't get it to the front.
Back in 7th spot, Steve Gottschalk just nearly tried to put the nose up underneath Joey Jatina. And now we've got a battle up for the lead. Malik Ray, Larry Pace putting the old block on Malik Ray going into 1 there. I love it, Joe. This is Pride Week. You might as well just say it, Pride Week. And these 2 guys up front qualified their way in. They're in. They're locked in the chase. Now it's Pride, like you mentioned.
Yeah, Larry believe he didn't pit on the last pit stop and stayed out. So Malik's on fresher tires. but these two guys are generally the class of the field. They're two of the smoothest guys out there. They know how to save their tires. They know how to make a long run. They're going to race each other good. It's going to be exciting. Looks like Malik Ray, I wouldn't be surprised if he's just not going to settle in and ride behind and let Larry burn his tires up and maybe pass him here in a few laps. But they can't relax too hard because J.D. Laird and Brian Boris Cook are only a second behind and closing.
Back here in the 8th and 9th spot, Chad Coleman and Chris Jabot. In fact, the rest of the squad here getting past Bobby Wetzel. He hit the wall just a second ago, Joe, and nearly took out Steve Gottschalk. He was able to get down below him. Now Joey Patino is in that top 5 spot, and Steve Gottschalk is in 6th. Remember the conspiracy going into the race tonight, how tight the points are for these two. Joey Jatina and Steve Gottschalk, are they racing against themselves to qualify in?
You know, it's just really going to be hard to say right now what's going to happen. Seth the Merchant, he's 10 laps down in 15th spot. He's the wild card in all of it with his 2 victories. If he's going to be able to get into the top 20, then yes, they could be battling for spots. It's just going to be hard to say. We'll have to try to get a statistician to shake out the points for us maybe when we get a break here, as we're still less than a third of our way into the race.
All right, so Larry Pace continues to lead us here at Dover, the Meatball Company 151 Monday Night Money Series, Yellow Flag TV's live presentation. We're going to step aside, take a commercial break. When we return, more green flag racing.
Start your engine!
Malik Ray, during the commercial break, Joe, taking over the number 1 spot. Now, I'm looking at Laird in 3rd spot and Brian Boris Cook in 4th. These top 4 drivers are all over each other, and I believe that Laird and Cook are turning a little bit quicker lap times than the front 2 guys.
Yeah, I believe Larry's tires, he stayed out. I believe they're starting to give up. The guy, Laird and Brian Boris, they're definitely driving the wheels off of theirs. Just the question is, will they be able to keep it up under them for the long run? Malik Ray's kind of busted out into the lead. He's running 23.5s, which is only about 0.8 off his qualifying lap. But every lap, he's like a machine. He's running that same lap time, probably conserving his equipment. Now that we're down to only 13 cars on the lead lap, it's probably going to be a long green flag run. So we'll see who's got what.
And of course, out of those top 4 drivers that you see right there, folks, on your screen, Brian Boris Cook is the only driver to have not won a race this year in the Sim500 Monday Night Money Series. But this is only his 7th start. He's had two top 5s and 4 top 10s, but not the win. And he sits back in 30th spot in the points. Probably would have been a chase contender for sure, Joe, if he could have ran about 4 or 5 more races. He's a really good driver. He's showing it tonight here at Dover.
Yeah, he's been a great addition to the Sim500 family. If I'm not mistaken, the bio that I heard on him earlier is he has actually works PR for Joe Gibbs Racing. So practicing his skill out here in a DeWalt sponsored car. Good addition, great driver, always up front.
Oh yeah, how about that? Yep, Brian Boris Cook in 4th spot, Laird in 3rd. Taking a look through the field here, Steve Gottschalk is in 5th spot. Chad Coleman 6th. Joey Jatina has fallen back to the 7th position. So we believe, as we went over it during the break, guys, we believe that Joey Jatina and Steve Gottschalk will race their way into this thing tonight. And Kyle Manger and Scott Stencil, by failing to show, will ruin their chances and hopes. Joe, is that correct?
That's the way it looks right now. Of course, a lot's going to hinge on if any of the guys out. Seth the Merchant right now is sitting in 15th, 24 laps down in the garage. If any of the guys that were in any of the incidents before him get their cars fixed and get back out and make some laps, it could take away a few precious points that DeMerchant needs. But right now, DeMerchant is with the victories that he has and the points, looks like he's going to make it into the top 20 and lock himself in.
So the disclaimer there being unofficially, Brian Boris Cook now takes over the 3rd spot. Officially, Joe. Coming off the corner, golly, nearly gets into the outside wall, and he is off and away from Laird as Laird washes up a little bit there. And Brian Boris Cook will now set his eyes on the 00 Buckshot Jones machine of Larry Pace. And of course, good luck catching Malik Ray, Brian Boris Cook.
Yeah, Malik Ray is on this late afternoon. I believe he's setting off into the sunset there. You know, the best these guys can hope for is a uncharacteristic mistake for Malik. But again, can't stress enough to you there, Michael. They're gonna have to make a green flag pit stop if we keep going here. You just don't realize how hard it is to slow that car down, make that transition onto that flat apron, get down to 45 miles an hour. There's a huge barrier. You do not want to make contact getting into the pits.
Looking back here in 9th spot, Chris Jabot has Joey Jatina ahead of him. Jabot is inching his way for that pass. Coming off the corner there, he's got a heck of a run, Joe, coming into 1 and 2 here. Chris Jabot looking to find a top 5 tonight, possible top 10 to add to his career here at the Sim500 Monday Night Money Series.
Yeah, and those guys are racing hard back there, you know, and they're putting on a good show for the fans out there. They're driving their guts out. But even as hard as they're driving, if you look at their lap times, they're almost 3 to 4 tenths per lap off of the blistering pace that Malik Ray. I don't know what this Target crew has found, but they have come alive these last 4 or 5 races that they've been in. They've been the car to beat. Wouldn't be surprised if the Sim500 officials don't tear that car down to the ground trying to see what they've got, because Malik Ray is on a rail.
Yeah, he has taken off. Once he got by Larry Pace, it was like the hand went out the window. And basically, I think it wasn't a thank you, type of wave. It was a wave like see you later to the not only to Pace but to the rest of the field. I mean, Malik Ray searching, and he may find it tonight for that 6th win And folks, this would be his 11th start in the series. So searching for 6 wins tonight.
He's definitely going to be riding momentum into next week's race in Darlington, which, by the way, you want to be sure and everybody tune in. That's going to be our throwback week. We've seen a lot of paint schemes being released here lately. A lot of the drivers are going to be running with some of the nostalgic throwback paints. So you definitely don't want to miss that. And hopefully we'll have a good race there. Malik Ray won't get out front and drive off.
Now, Joe, we've got plenty of time here, obviously. Let's talk points here. I'm looking. I don't know if you got your point standings up, Joe?
Yes, sir.
Who's that guy back in 16th spot in the points?
That is me.
Now, I've got to ask, you're 16th in points. I know last week you took the week off for, and this week, did you just have so much fun last week in the booth that you just had to come back? I mean, you could have clawed your way in to the chase.
Yeah, it's no secret. I really, really like driving and the competitiveness of the sim racing. But Dover is a tricky track, and, we're looking for ways to grow the Sim500, make it a better league. We keep striving to make it the best. And, everybody can't be quarterback. And but it doesn't hurt near as bad up here in the booth because I haven't hit a wall all night.
Speaking of walls, Glenn Campbell finally finds the top 10 here tonight. He's working Chris Jabot to death trying to get by him. Off the corner, there he goes, underneath. He'll make the pass. Chris just finally come on, man. Go on by. I know you're quicker now. Glenn Campbell's got the damage machine of Paul Nicholas Cooper ahead of him in the 8th spot, so Glenn Campbell could make up some good times tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately for Glenn, he's been another competitor that's been off and on with 6 starts tonight. But Glenn is another one that doesn't always fire off right when the green flags falls with some rapid, torrid lap times. But he's very, very steady. His lap times stay good. And when we get in these green flag runs like what we're doing now, that starts to show as he starts making his way to the front. His lap times are very, very consistent. Not quite as quick as Malik Ray, but on par with everybody else. So he's going to pick up some spots.
Closest race now on the track is your 2nd and 3rd spot positions. You got Larry Pace in 2nd, Brian Morris Cook, who's just been working on Larry. Just very difficult to pass here. You basically just got to wait it out. Coming off the corner, get a good run, maybe snick a nose underneath, and try to get the pass down into 3, or the opposite, coming off 4 into 1. Tricky track here as Brian Morris Cook still working that number 2 position.
Yeah, and right now it's where it's going to get interesting for Larry Pace. He's 2nd. He knows right now he doesn't have anything for Malik Ray. I guarantee you he's on the radio talking to the crew about maybe we should pit. We're almost 2 or 3 laps from halfway. Maybe we could come in early, get our tires, make this time up, hold on for the win. That somebody, you got to do something different than the leader. Malik Ray is 3 seconds out in the lead right now. If you do what he does, you're not going to beat him. So I'm sure Larry and the crew, even Brian Boris and JD they're all 3 running really close together. They're on the radios with their crews trying to figure out what they can do to maybe pick this still a win with some strategy.
Larry, 14 laps more on his tires, Joe. 14 laps. And still running a good 2nd position right now on the racetrack. Folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break and hopefully return to you with the fine green flag racing that we've got going on, but most importantly, green flag pit stops that lie just ahead here at Dover. You're watching Monday Night Money Series. I'm going to go get me a Dover Mile hot dog. Have you had one of those yet, Joe?
No, not yet.
Well, I'm going to grab you one. We'll be back, folks. You're watching Yellow Flag TV presentation of the Monday Night Series Sim500. We'll get it. right, back live here, Joe, and we've seen some green flag pit stops under the commercial break. I believe Larry Pace came down.
Yeah, Larry did a masterful job of getting the car slowed down at the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit on pit road. And as we, just to tell you about the tires, how big a difference is, he came out about 5 seconds behind Malik Ray, being 2 laps down. In a matter of 3 laps, he has made up that time, plus pulled ahead to get himself back to only 1 lap down. He's running about 1.5 seconds faster on the new tires. Just to let you know there, Mike, what a difference the tires make. Other drivers that have given up the ghost and come in to get their tires, Chad Coleman, Joey Giattina, they both come in. Brian Wortman, they've come in and got their tires. They're going to have to go a long way, about half the race. But it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Exactly how long will Malik Ray stay out?
Yeah, we'll get to see some other drivers on the live here come down pit road. Bad timing, I guess, for my part, going to a commercial there. As soon as I go to a commercial, Larry Pace comes down. He just didn't want the world to see him green flag pit stop in case he messed up. I think he was listening. I think that's what happened. What do you think, Jay? You agree?
I watched Larry. I went back and reviewed the stop. It was a perfect stop by the 00 crew. He got right in the box, all squared up. Again, he slowed down. He lost very, very little time. But that just shows you how quick the pace is around this track. He made a green flag pit stop running 2nd spot, lost 2 laps. So, like I said, he's made up one of them now. A good deal faster than Malik Ray, but going to even out. When Malik makes his stop, then he's going to be a second faster. So I said we're just going to have to see how long he stays out, how much time Malik Ray gives up, and will he have enough time to make that time back up, as Chad Coleman on new tires is coming up to try to unlap himself.
Battle for second now. Brian Boris Cook and Laird down the front stretch. Laird off into one there is going to make the keep the position.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Laird took over second. I don't know if you could hear it, but I swear I heard Brian Boris Cook's tires screaming, "We give up, we're tired," as he run down the front straightaway, because Brian has driven the wheels off that thing since we went back green, and his tires have they're gone.
Scrolling through the field here, trying to keep my eyes out on pit road, Joe, for Malik Ray, Steve Gottschalk, Brian Boris, and J.D. Laird to come down pit road. Laird looks like he got to the wall a little bit.
Yeah, we just heard from our statistician in the booth that they've been about 60 laps since they last pitted. So right now we have right at 60 laps to go. So if they pit now, they'll cut it in half. They'll know what they've got. I look for them to be coming, in the next 3 or 4 laps, easy. As we, where we're at now, we're only got 8 cars on the lead lap. Bobby Wetzel, the first one a lap down. Larry Pace making up a ton of time on those new tires. I just don't think Malik Ray can stay out much longer without pitting.
Closest battle on the racetrack is the number 2 position and 3 position. We've been watching them, J.D. Laird, Brian Boris Cook. Malik Ray is your race leader. He has not yet pitted, as well as the other 2 I just mentioned. Jimmy North coming back on to the racetrack now. Joe, 70 laps down, and that just shows you how quick. I mean, we just talked to him, and he's 70 down. But has the chance to pass Robinette, Nebraska, and Merchant, possibly Brian Wortman, if he can stay with the race here.
Yeah, and that's going to knock the Merchant back 1 spot, which could be huge, as well as, they'll figure up the halfway lap stage points there. But it still appears that the Merchant is going to be safe. But I've just continued to be puzzled by the Malik Ray crew, why they continue to leave him out. He has slowed down to almost 25 seconds a lap, giving almost 2 full seconds a lap now up to Larry Pace.
Ooh.
And we're on a track where the lap times are 23 seconds, so you figure 2 seconds a lap, in about 10 laps, he's going to be back on your bumper.
Brian Boris Cook down on pit road. He'll come into his pit stop now. 4 tires, obviously, for his crew. Right side's going up now. The left sides will go up next. Brian Boris Cook came in 3rd spot, currently in 8th, about to go a lap down, and he will to Malik Ray, who has been dominant tonight. Still looking for his green flag pit stop, though. He can mess it up. Laird also down pit road, Joe.
Yeah, you know, Malik Ray with a 15-second lead out there. I guess he figures he's pretty safe, and they've got a plan, and they're going to stick to it. But you saw how quickly that once Brian Boris Cook pitted, that J.D. Laird didn't mess around. He come on in behind him. So they all look to be pitting pretty much the whole field now, making their way to pit road.
Folks, if you're just joining us, this is the last race before the chase starts. The next week, we'll have Darlington. Currently, on my watch, there are 11 drivers locked into that race. Joe, we've mentioned several others locked in. Malik Ray now pitting, I'm hearing.
Yeah, and I was just watching Malik get into the pits. It's going to be interesting to hear this from the tower if he was speeding, because I had him at almost 45 miles an hour when he crossed the line into the pits, and the speed is 35. So it's very, very questionable. We'll see if he gets held here at the end of the pit road, but there he's in his stall.
Oh, that could be bad news for Malik Ray, but good news for the rest of the field. Especially good news for J.D. Laird.
Nope, he's got his tires, and he's coming back out on the track. So evidently all was good and green as he come through there, but he really got on there fast, and we'll see how it shakes back out. It's Glenn Campbell, the Rhinestone Cowboy, is our new leader.
How about that? Rhinestone Cowboy, driver of the 99 machine, Glenn Campbell. And Malik Ray is coming down. He's got to serve that penalty, Joe. And I believe he's speeding again, entering.
Oh my God! What a huge turn! What a huge turning point!
Yeah. So Malik Ray, who has dominated this race, Joe, has gotten the black flag, and speeding on pit road is a result of that, and he is going to have to serve it. Man. So.
Well, that's what it goes back to. I was mentioning to you earlier when we were talking about Formosa, exactly how hard it is to win these races. You got Malik Ray, who has just been dominating, got to serve a 15-second penalty in there, you know, and I'm sure Malik was very frustrated. He knew that the other cars had pitted. They were making up a lot of time. He tried to get all he could get on the pits, and like we mentioned before the race, it was going to bite somebody, and unfortunately it had to bite Malik.
How about that? You called it, Joe, at the beginning of the broadcast. You said pit road it was a difficult thing, and man, I mean, he was in the lead by 15 seconds, and he comes down pit road. I mean, I think they should have had him slowing up way before he gets there. He's got so much time to kill, you know. Get on pit road safely. Don't speed. Man.
Yep. Well, I mean, you know, you don't want to second guess any of the crews out there. But again, I do not understand why they left him out there so long with such a dominant car. Where he's going to come out now. He's showing in 12th spot, 2 laps down with 50 laps to go. You know, good thing he's in the chase. And when they get in the chase, you know, they got to sit down this week and get themselves together, because in the chase, you cannot make these mistakes. Yeah, he's trying to make up time. I'm riding with him. He caught he caught up to the number 9 car. It just about spun him going in there. He's breathing fire. He's breathing like fire.
The Game of Thrones dragon out there. Look at him coming off the corner. He's upset with himself. I mean, killed a 15-second lead, and now he's down two laps. I mean, golly.
Well, I know we're not supposed to be, prejudiced or show any favoritism or anything, but I mean, you got to call it the way it is. And I don't know about you, Michael, but they gave this one away.
Oh, most definitely. And Larry Pace is the one currently, right now, going to be the benefactor of that. He's in the lead, and he's got a big lead over E.J. O'Rourke currently in the second spot.
Yeah, E.J. O'Rourke has not made his pit stop. He's hung out there hoping to get a caution. He got in the wall earlier, so he's made his bed to try to ride it out as long as he can, hopefully get a caution, get in, get some service, get that right front fender patched up a little bit. Right now we're looking at 6 cars on the lead lap, and E.J. O'Rourke has given it up and is coming in the pits.
So E.J. will come down. That'll put Chad Coleman into the second spot, but still, the ground he's got to make up on Larry Pace, I just don't see it happening.
No, just so we can kind of give the viewers an idea. Remember when Larry Pace made his pit stop, he was almost door to door, bumper to bumper with Brian Boris Cook and J.D. Laird. Larry pitted about 10 laps, 12 laps ahead of those guys, and now Larry is 16 seconds ahead of J.D. Laird in third spot. So that new tire's worth a lot. J.D. have enough time to make it back, it's going to be questionable.
Louis Robinette back out on the racetrack, 80 laps down. He will pass Kyle Tarasca, possibly Seth the Merchant, so make that 2 guys now, pushing Seth the Merchant even further back, possibly into the 17th spot. Joe, that's becoming critical. Jimmy North just passed him a few laps ago, so Seth now 16th, with Louis Robinette potentially going to be able to put the Merchant back to, well, looks like Robinette coming back down pit road, perhaps calling it quits.
Yeah, it's still, I think if I'm doing my math correctly, I think the Merchant had himself about a 4 or 5 point cushion there, so I don't think he can fall back out of the top 20. But it's definitely making it interesting with these guys coming back out of the garage with repaired cars, making laps and putting them back down positions. Looks like we've lost Brian Boris Cook. I didn't see any contact he had earlier, but I saw his car limping along the front straightaway on the inside with damages. He's now 11 laps down.
Yeah, several laps ago, probably about 11 laps ago, Joe, he got into the back of J.D. Laird and pulled it quickly down to pit road there to avoid any more problems, as he is now out of the race. Chad Coleman down pit road, right side's up, left side's now coming up on that machine. Also, Joey Jatina coming out of his pit box, and Louis Robinette back out on the racetrack. So, green flag pit stop's nearly done here, and current race leader Larry Pace first, J.D. Laird second, Steve Gottschalk third. Everybody else put them a lap down at least, Joe.
Yeah, and now we're looking at, let's see, we're on lap 116, so what does that give us? About 35 laps to go. The lead is beginning to shrink. It was 15 seconds. It's now down to 13.6. So J.D. Laird turning lap times in the mid-23s. Looks like that. Let's see if we can get up and get a lap time on Larry Pace. 24.1 his last lap, so he's gaining a half a second a lap. Who knows? He could catch him before we get to checkers. I don't know if Larry's maybe saving something. His crew's giving him an idea how far back JD is, but JD is definitely closing with those new tires.
Paul Nicholas Cooper right behind Larry Pace. Paul Nicholas in the 9th spot in that 18 machine. He'll work up underneath him. He's got fresher tires. Oh! Pace almost into the outside wall there. Again, folks, that just shows you how tight the corners get off coming off here. Man, they get tight. And Paul Nicholas Cooper able to get by him okay. Now Malik Ray is the next up to come up behind Larry Pace.
Yeah, I guarantee
he's half a track away.
Yeah, Larry's just gotta keep making those lap times. Larry's we'll get a lap time on him this time. He runs a 24.4. Let's go back and find JD and see what JD runs. JD runs a 23.85, so he picked up another half a second. He's cut it down to less than 12 seconds. It's going to get interesting. May only have 3 cars on the lead lap, but it's going to be a barn burner right down to the end.
Can Pace keep pace enough to stay in the lead, folks? We got just a handful of laps to go. J.D. Laird currently 11.5 seconds down from Larry Pace, and Steve Gottschalk is in 3rd spot tonight. Wow, what a story for him. You know, if he had to race his way in, boy, he definitely deserves it tonight. We believe that Steve Gottschalk will enter into the chase, and boy, talk about having to come in tonight, having a good race. Even though if he didn't have to, Joe, I mean, he's in 3rd spot. What a good race for him.
Yeah, and he dodged a bullet early in one of those big crashes, all in front of him, and the seas parted, and he got through with no damage. So, well-deserved run tonight. Still watching the lap times. You know, at some point these tires are going to start to even out. Right now, Laird's still a little bit faster, maybe 0.3. He's going to need more than that if he's going to make up the 11 seconds to get to Pace's bumper.
Look back here in 12th spot, Joey Jatina coming off the corner. He's got Chad Coleman ahead of him. This is not for position, but it is the closest battle on the racetrack. And sometimes it's just fun to watch that. Joey Jatina banged up 9th tonight on that car. And Chad Coleman is one of the few that have a clean race car, at least in my monitor here. As we've got a battle just ahead of them, Larry Pace it is with Malik Ray. Malik Ray getting one of those laps back now. He is a lucky dog contender now.
Yeah, that gets him back to 2 laps down, but he is going to need some help from the caution flags. Of course, the caution would change everything for these guys. But let's hope it'll play out green and we can let these guys decide it out on the track.
Just saw Nathan Bowers way off the throttle there coming out of 4. It looks like he might have tried pitting there. He was down below the apron and he overshoots the pits. Oh, now he's in the outside wall there. So Nathan Bowers now will try for the 2nd time. Let's see if he gets in here. Yes, he'll sneak it in there this time. And he'll be down pit road.
Yeah, it's just so tough. You know, we mentioned it in the opening. With the pits being in the middle of the turn, you just don't get a lot of practice having to slow down that quick to get into the pits and it being that tight. Plus, you're going 170, slowing down to 35. That's no easy task.
Guess who I just seen come up onto the racetrack? And I'll give you a hint, Joe. Number 57. How about that?
Yep, Seth the Merchant. He's going to, at least that'll keep him from losing any more spots. I don't believe he can gain any spots. Oh, we got a caution.
Joey Jatina coming off the corner of 2, and he just loses it. Looks like a right, left, oversteer left, and spins it out. And that car is done. He's down pit road, and Joe, that's going to set up the top 3 drivers are the only ones on the lead lap, but that's going to set up for a little small shootout here, little 20-lap shootout perhaps at Dover.
Yeah, and as much as they wanted tires, I'm betting Larry Pace really didn't want to see that caution. But there's only Laird and Gottschalk on the lead lap. Lynn Campbell will get the lucky dogs. That'll put us 4 back on the lead lap, but he will have to start at the tail end of the longest line.
Well,
so,
if all 3 of these guys pit, Joe, that's going to put Campbell, O'Rourke, Jabot, Malik Ray, Paul Nicholas Cooper, and Chad Coleman back on the lead lap, is it not?
If they elect to stay out and take the wave around, yeah, it'll possibly put them back on the lead lap. It most certainly will. Campbell will get the lucky dog, so he will be able to pit and get tires. If you stay out, if those guys stay out and decide to get back on the lead lap, they're going to be hoping for a quick caution so they can come in and get their tires. And with the the hot tires on all those cars, anything's possible here. It's definitely going to make for an exciting finish.
And if I'm one of these guys about to get my lap down, that's about 5 drivers total probably. After Glenn Campbell gets his back, I'm thinking, Joe, that there might be a wreck, and then I can come down and pit and have a shot at this. If those guys get their lap back and there's not a caution, then those top 3 guys, including Campbell, top 4 now, they should just set sail.
Yeah, well, you know, as you mentioned, those guys that are going to probably stay out and take the wave around, that is their only chance. That's the only chance they have to try to get back on the lead lap and salvage a better finish. And anything's possible. Like I said, they're all on 30, 40 lap tires. They're slipping and sliding all over the track. Doesn't take, as we saw, one little bobble there by Joey Giottina. Looked like in the middle of 3 and 4, he just kind of clipped the apron and it got away from him. You know, let me go see if I can get a word from him in the garage.
Absolutely, folks. Working lap 129 out of 151, the Meatball Company 151. 9 drivers on the lead lap, and Joe, you've just caught up with Joey Giottina.
Hey, Joey Giottina, it's Joe Hudson up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, buddy.
Oh, man, what happened to you there? It looked like you were having a kind of a rough night, and it seemed to go bad there in a hurry off of 2.
Yeah, it's been a bad night altogether. I think we destroyed 100 cars in practice. I thought middle, the first part of the race was doing pretty good. I got up to the top 5, and then I guess I just burned everything up. Just struggled horribly, and then I completely ran out of talent 8 laps down. There was no sense in it, but brought a caution in. I hope I didn't mess anybody's race up.
Well, you don't. You made it going to be interesting for us here. There's only, with 4 cars on the lead lap, we're going to have about a 20-lap shootout. Good news for you, though. You've solidly locked yourself into the chase, so sorry that you had the problem, but at least you're in the chase, and hopefully you can regain some momentum for next week at Darlington.
Sure hope so. Really feel good if we were at Talladega or somewhere like that, but these guys are tough. So anyways, appreciate you guys, and we'll see what happens.
All right, good luck, Joey. We'll see you next week in Darlington.
And, of course, Darlington Raceway, the KC Designs Throwback Night. Bring the old paint schemes. I love that. I can't wait to see what the drivers bring to the track in race 1 of the chase at Darlington. And, of course, after that, Joe, we'll take the top 10 drivers in the chase and take you to the WCI Parts 88 Talladega.
Yeah, we'll re-rack them. For Joey and Gottschalk, their playoffs actually started tonight, and they've made the most out of it. Looks like we're getting ready to go back around, just like you called it. All those guys that were on the tail end of the lead lap have taken the wave around. So let's see what happens here with 20 to go, Mike.
Yep, if you're one of those guys that just took the wave around, be patient. If caution comes out, you'll get your turn to pit. But if not, it's going to be these top 4 drivers, and it will be Larry Pace taking us back to the green here at Dover. Off to a great start. J.D. Laird second, Gottschalk third, and 4th belongs to Glenn Campbell.
Yeah, it ought to be interesting because Gottschalk and Laird, Larry Pace, all were running the same lap times earlier. Malik Ray seemed to have everybody covered, but the rest of these guys were pretty even. So let's see what can happen. Laird is trying to close in as they exit 4.
Laird trying to win his second tonight of the season, perhaps. Larry Pace on schedule to win his second. By the way, Larry Pace sitting first in the point standings. Jay Laird sitting second. That's current point standings, which, of course, it will be reset next week at Darlington when the chase starts. Looking back here in 5th spot, E.J. O'Warwick working the lap down car Jimmy North. He'll get by him, and Malik Ray is in the 6th position. Both of those drivers on old tires, Joe.
Yeah, I find it really ironic there just listening to you, Mike. Number 1 and 2 in the points are 1 and 2 in the race. And you can see how hard J.D. Laird is trying to catch pace as he just almost clips the wall coming off of 4.
Yeah, Laird wants this win. I mean, just turned a 23.011 to a Larry Pace 22.930. And Larry just very dominant here at Dover. Good run off the corner, though, for Laird. And he turns 0.66 to Larry's 0.64. So still quicker is Pace, but it did sure look like Laird got a great run off that corner there.
Yeah, Larry's one of the steady guys out here, not going to make many mistakes. J.D. Laird, more of the bulldog type, and I guarantee you if he can get to his back bumper, he's not going to make it easy, but getting to that back bumper now with about 15 laps to go is going to be the challenge.
Nearly the entire field, folks, single file, no double file racing here. We'll bring it to you if we see it. Currently, 9 drivers on the lead lap. The next to be in 10th spot would be Nathan Bowers. He is actually battling it out with the number 9 machine of Bobby Wetzel. And Bobby, of course, about half a corner away from Nathan Bowers to try to take over that top 10 spot. Laps are winding down. 151 scheduled for tonight. The Meatball Company 151, the Monday Night Money Series race number 16. And it's coming to a close with Pace leading the way.
Yeah, and you still got J.D. Laird giving it all he's got, but at some point you start trying so hard that you find yourself slipping back. And as I look at the lap times, Larry Pace is stretching it out just a little bit each lap. It's going to be hard for Laird right now.
Steve Gottschalk in 3rd spot. He is trying to find his first win of the season. He's 15th in points. We mentioned earlier coming into tonight's event that Gottschalk could be struggling to find his way into the chase. And after a night like tonight, if he continues to run 3rd here, heck, I even think a top 10 would put him in next week at Darlington in the Challenger 14. Manger and Stencil are out.
I just don't understand what happened to those guys tonight. They had a great chance of moving forward, but for whatever reason, they elected to sit tonight out. But, we'll go forward with 14 guys next week, and they're all going to be really, really hungry and going for the win. Again, I look forward to after the race talking to Gottschalk. He's going to be on cloud 9. What a race he's ran. I really don't see any damage on his car, and he's going to come home with a solid 3rd here if he can keep it together for 8 more laps.
Good to see Brian Boris Cook back out on the racetrack, Joey. Took that early exit 27 laps ago. He is now down those many in the 13th spot as he works up underneath Jimmy North coming off the corner there. Laps winding down. Looks like Larry Pace. Oh! Malik Ray spinning off turn 2. Saves it, though. Oh, there goes the spin. It's going to bring out the caution. He saved it, and then it went around on him, Joe. My goodness. Oh, boy.
All right, let's see if we're going to have enough time to get this thing re-racked to go green. We're coming to 5 to go, so we might have a 1-lap shootout.
I don't know how Bobby Wetzel and Nathan Bowers, Malik Ray is the hot dog between the buns right there. They go 3 wide off the corner with Malik Ray spinning, and he never touches anybody. Great job by Nathan Bowers.
Well, like we talked about, those guys that elected to stay out and take the wave around, they're on hot tires that are really greasy, really slippery. They're doing all they can do. They're racing for position, hoping to get the caution. Sure didn't want to be the cause for the caution, but it's going to be very interesting to see if we're going to be able to go back green.
I think we'll be able to go back green, Joe. I'm looking 145 laps complete, 151 set to be the checkered. Larry Pace will not pit. Laird will not pit. Gottschalk's coming down, though, baby. Give me 4 fresh tires, Gottschalk says. And Laird and Pace will be your only drivers to stay out. I think we'll see 5 to go, Joe. I think we'll see 5 to go.
I like that move by Gottschalk. Gutsy call by the crew. It's just going to really see how bad he wants it there. I mean, he's going to have the fresh tires. He's definitely going to have the advantage when we go back to green. We're just going to have to see how bad he wants it, because he's going to be fast. Just can he pass him?
And, of course, Malik Ray is on the lead lap. Folks, he put on a clinic tonight, led nearly probably, I think it was about 80-something laps. And the car went around on him. Just then to bring out the caution. Earlier he had a speeding ticket on pit road under the green flag, so that's never good.
No.
He's found himself back up on the lead lap.
And he's, again, he's racing for pride and he's hungry, so anything's going to happen. But I think he's going to be a little too far back to make a serious run unless the front two or three, get together or something. I'm really liking the position of Steve Gottschalk. If he sticks his nose off in there and really tries hard with having those four tires, he could steal a victory, literally steal a victory here with a couple laps to go.
Chad Coleman also out there. He's on the lead lap. Looking to, he's third, by the way, in the points, and 0 wins. In fact, the only driver in the top 6 in the point standings currently winless. So Coleman being shown in the 4th spot looking for a win. E.J. O'Rourke is in 3rd. Another driver just outside the top 8 here that has not won in the Sim500 Monday Night Money Series. So we could see a potential second winner tonight or a first-time winner here.
Yeah, a little kink in the strategy here. It looks like Coleman and O'Rourke both only took 2 tires to get track position. So I'm not sure that'll give them enough speed to get by the leaders with only 2 tires, but it's definitely going to impede Gottschalk's progress with 4 tires. But here we go. Looks like we're going to have about a 3-lap shootout.
3-lap shootout. The lights on the pace car will hopefully come off here. And we'll get the one to go.
Yeah, we're going to have E.J. O'Rourke starting 3rd with 2 new right side tires. E.J. very hungry, no wins in the series this season, as well as Chad Coleman with fresh right side tires, well up in the points, very consistent, but also no wins in the series. So both of those guys are going to be hungry. I wouldn't want to be in Larry's shoes right now. It could get a little rough up there.
Yes, like you mentioned, multiple different strategies. You got the 2 drivers up front not pitting. 2 drivers, it's 3rd and 4th, right sides only, and then of course Gottschalk, Campbell on back, 4 tires. Man, here we go, baby. This is what it's all about. Green, white checkered here.
Just like we said earlier, it's just so hard to win these races. Anything's possible, and it's never over till that checkered falls. So let's see what happens here on the start. It's going to be interesting through 1 and 2.
Larry Pace going to take us back to the green slowly but surely. Elects to take the bottom side. He'll go green now. And gets up in front of Laird and will lead the lap.
He gets a great jump over Laird and to take the lead into 1. E.J. O'Rourke, strong, wide open through 2, closing up on the back bumper of J.D. Laird. Question is, will he have enough time to make it up to Larry Pace as Larry stretched it out to about a 5-car length lead?
White flag in the air for Larry Pace for the final time tonight. It's over. Laird right behind him. Blake Ray moves up into the 5th spot. Going to run out of time, though. It's going to be Pace in 3 and 4 here.
All he has to do is make one more perfect corner through 3 and 4, and he's going to do it. He's going to come off of turn 4. Larry Pace is going to be your winner tonight of the Meatball 151.
Boom! Second will be J.D. Laird. 3rd, E.J. O'Rourke. Gottschalk will come home in 4th, and rounding out the top 5, as you mentioned earlier, the Rhinestone Cowboy, Glenn Campbell, in a top 5 spot.
Yeah, great finish there. Perfect restart by Larry Pace. Even though they had tires on him, he was able to get out there, get himself enough of a cushion that he could just squeeze it through 3 and 4, 1 and 2 for 2 laps and hold on to the lead. I'm telling you, Gottschalk with those 4 tires was coming. About 2 more laps, it might have been a different story.
And as Larry Pace does the burnouts, we'll step away for our quick commercial break and bring you post-race interviews live here at the Dover International Speedway. You're watching Monday Night Money Series. We'll be back.
Start your engine!
Back live here. Post-race interviews. Race wrapped up. Race number 16, in fact. Monday Night Money Series. Yellow Flag TV's presentation will start us off next week. And the chase. And in fact, Mr. Joey Hudson, catching up with the third place finisher, E.J. O'Rourke. Winless, but he's in the chase, Joe.
Yeah, good run there, EJ. You got that late. You took that wave around there late in the race. The late caution helped you out there. Looked like you got 2 right side tires. That just did not give you enough to get around Larry.
Man, I think if you put Jeff Gordon in the car, I think he would have won. But unfortunately, I stepped in my foot and couldn't get the job done.
Well, it looked like you had a little damage earlier, but you fought through it and still come home with a strong third. You're in a good, solid spot that should give you a lot of momentum headed into the chase last week. How was your race? How was the track?
The track was fun. I suck here. I hate this racetrack. I'm never too good at it. I don't know. I pulled the third place qualifying out of my hat somehow and ran all right, but got caught up in the wreck on the front stretch with Kyle and Louie, but it didn't really damage my car. I just lost the track position. Was able to kind of play some strategy and do a 1 pit stop to the end. Most guys are doing 2 and kind of put us in this position.
Well, any way you cut it, that's a good run, E.J. O'Rourke, for the Mercer Trucking Ford. Look forward to seeing you in the chase next week. Good luck going forward, and great race tonight.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Now we'll turn it over. We got Larry Pace, I believe, has made his way into victory lane, and I believe Michael Keaton is down there waiting for him to get out of the car.
Yep, Larry Pace, second win and in, my friend, next week at Darlington. But first, tonight, let's talk about Dover. Put on a little clinic there for some folks tonight.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite tracks, so I was hoping for a good performance coming into this. We went Rockingham, which was probably my favorite track ever, so coming into Dover, my expectations were high, and it was going to be between me and Malik and JD, and I think Malik had some issues, which helped us, but we had 3 shots to lose it at the end there, and it still worked out.
Yeah, I don't know if your crew had made you aware that Malik had gotten a pit road speeding penalty and had to come back down pit road and serve that. That definitely helped you out, because Malik, he sure had it hooked up. You look like you were able to hang with him there for a few laps, but he seemed to have you on the long run there. But great job by the 00 crew tonight. How was the track for you?
There wasn't a whole lot of grip on exit. It was interesting. It was definitely fun. It wasn't a bad race by any means. It was still fun to drive. But yeah, just a real lack of grip. So it was just managing the right rear tire on the exits, especially turn 4, just trying to keep it straight. But yeah, it was great. I always love coming to Dover.
Well, that was a great job, Larry. And you're going to be going into next week at Darlington with all the momentum. You're the regular season's point leader, point champion, 2 wins. You should have all the momentum as you kick off the chase. What are you thinking about this next 4-race chase?
It's going to be interesting. Darlington is going to, I mean, these are some challenging tracks coming up. Darlington is a track I enjoy, but I wouldn't say I'm as good at it as I am at Dover or Rockingham. So I'll have to get some extra practice in. Talladega is a huge variable. That's going to be interesting. But yeah, this next 4 weeks is going to be real tough. There's going to be a lot of guys going hard every lap.
Well, congratulations again, Larry. Mike, Sid, turn it back over to Mike, see if he has any comments for you. Great job out there tonight.
Thank you very much. And I got to thank my crew chief, John Prather. He made the call to pit right after the stage ended, and that really worked in our favor, even though the caution came out near the end. He was on it tonight, so big thanks to John Prather.
Absolutely, and on it all season long, really, Larry. Coming into tonight in the points lead, you'll leave tonight in the points lead, but everything restarts next Monday night at Darlington, the Challenger 14. Now, I've caught up, finally, with Mr. J.D. Laird. JD, second again without the win, my friend. But you've got one, and you're also locked into the race next week at Darlington. But first, let's talk Dover, and we'll try to get Brian Boris Cook's reaction on this. But little early tamperoo from Boris there that put him out of the race.
He was never on my screen when it happened. I know there was an issue off of turn 4 where we checked up. I guess he checked up for EJ, but by the time he exited turn 4, he was nowhere to be found. And then I guess he parked it along the apron. So on my end, I never saw him. So if he wants to stir anything about it, then so be it.
Well, of course, JD, coming into tonight's event, you were second in the points. And a really great season for you. The 15th start tonight. You'll have 7 top 5s, 1 win. Couldn't get the second again here. But next week's Darlington, man. The Challenger 14, and then we go to Dega. So what's the crew look like for next week at Darlington, the 28th?
Oh, I know the car will look good. I got an interesting throwback. It doesn't meet the Sim500 throwback requirements, but it's a throwback to an old Anderson Surfboards logo. It's gonna look really, really cool on the racetrack. And as far as me driving the thing, I hope I would drive it okay. It seems like every time I've run Darlington, I've had the luck go my way. So knock on wood, knock on my head, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully everything goes my way, and I at least get, I think it's the top 10 out of all the chasers because it's a knockout, I believe. But hopefully I'm not 11th, 12th, 13th, or 14th with the chase guys.
Yeah, JD, this is Joe Hudson up in the booth. On that last restart, did you think you had anything for Larry?
The only way I had something for him is if I got a better restart than I did, but I figured why not just go ahead and miss the restart because that's all I'm good at. And if I was side by side with them, EJ or Chad or anybody else that had tires probably would have railed up on us, so it was kind of a good mistake on my part to kind of let it, like the top 2 kind of do its thing. Plus it really didn't matter. I wanted to go for the win, but I'm at the limit of incident points, so I couldn't really do much of anything to make anything happen. So I kind of just settled in.
No regrets for down and not getting those tires. We watched you come down and make a deke on pit road. Was there ever any serious consideration of getting tires?
I thought about it, and then obviously I didn't think about it. But in hindsight, everybody behind me pitted, so I probably could have gotten away and taken tires, but I would have been probably third or fourth because EJ and Chad both took 2 tires, so I would have been in a losing situation anyway. So I was either going to come off one of the corners completely obliterated by a guy with new tires, or probably come no worse or no better than second. So there's no regrets on the call.
Well, that was a great race. Enjoyed watching you. Drove a nice, smooth, steady race. Good job tonight. Look forward to seeing you in Darlington.
Appreciate it, guys. But I got to give a shout out to Anderson Surfboards, Aquatech Glassing, Langford Farms, Spirited by Brad, and prayers for Chase Randall. He got involved in an accident last Saturday, I believe it was, in a micro, and he's currently in the hospital. So if anybody's watching, which I'm probably not certain of, but if anybody knows him, prayers are off to him. Hopefully he comes out okay.
Absolutely. There you have it, folks. Race number 16 in the books. For me, Michael Keaton, second timer in the booth tonight. Joe Hudson, Pedro Mega, as always, couldn't do it without him. We'll see everyone next Monday night at Darlington. The grid, the chase, it starts. The Challenger 14 in the KC Designs Throwback Night. Drivers, bring them throwback skins. We'll see you next week.
Start your engine!